Good afternoon, everybody. I'm gonna be doing a quick video. It's probably actually not gonna be that quick, but on French crosses for your Roman style vestments. That's your fiddlebacks, Neries, semi-Gothic revivals, anything where you're gonna want to put a tau cross on the front or a column on the front and then a Roman cross on the back. So you can see here I have my gold fabric. It's my main fabric, and maybe I can do a video about that and my opinion on that later. And then we have this really awesome black and gold Wakefield that we've put on top. So when you're going to cut out your inlay, which is what this guy is, okay, this this Wakefield we're using as an inlay on top of this gold, you can absolutely just put your cross on straight onto the gold with no accent fabric whatsoever. But if you have a patterned accent fabric, you're going to want to center, you're going to center your pattern there in the middle of your French cross. If you're putting a large motif in there, where you center it might not be as big of a deal. You may choose to do some, make sure to have a lovely pattern above or below it or to the sides. In this case, I wanted, we aren't doing any kind of motif, so I wanted that pattern to be kind of the star of the show. When I go to cut out my Wakefield, I use my acrylic cross, and I put my 1 inch, they're 1 inch wide, my 1 inch wide ruler next to it, and then I draw my line. Okay, so I make sure that it's centered on my pattern, and I draw my line all the way around it, so I have a 1 inch wide overlap, because this is where my galloon is going to go. And the galloon is a little bit wider than 1 inch, so it covers it up well. Anyway, I haven't ever done a video about my French crosses because there's really not a great way to do them without this acrylic cross tool. Latin crosses aren't quite as difficult. Tau crosses aren't that hard without that, but these French crosses can be a real bear without this really great tool here. So I just want to talk to you guys about how I use this tool. We've just put this into production, so if you would like to order a set of French crosses, we have a set that includes a 5 inch, a 5.5 inch, and a 6 inch cross. And it includes some other pieces as well, but I want to show you those later. Here we're just going to talk about how we use this guy to lay our galloon. Now you could just use poster board or cardboard and draw out your own cross and cut it out and use it kind of like how I'm using it here. The difference would be is when you have this thick acrylic here, your galloon is going to really butt up against that, like it's going to hit it this way, and so you're going to get nice straight lines. Everybody wants to know how I get my crosses so perfect. Acrylic cross, that's how I get it done. So I'm just going to show you here how we do that. So I start up at the corner for this, and I'm going to go up here, and of course I have it backed with my my iron adhesive stick. It's just how I do it. You could use sticky tape. You could just use pins and put this up against here and pin. Okay, that's possible. I don't like doing that. So I'm going to start up, and I make sure that my stuff goes all the way to the edge, my balloon. And I just push this. I'm gonna set this on top of here so that my stuff doesn't, I push this in to my acrylic edge. Now, how I determine what way I'm gonna fold my corners is by this right here. So when I do this corner, this side of the cross, my corner is gonna go out this way and it's gonna go out this way. So this here, everything is gonna face this direction. So it's gonna go that way, that way, that way, and this way. Okay? So here's, let's see if I can get it to show you. So, and if you need more instruction on how to turn corners for your balloon, I have additional videos on that somewhere on my channel there. Okay, so really you can even iron this down a little bit closer to the edge. And then I like to turn it and use these to hold stuff down while I get that corner right. Okay, so remember I said it's gonna go this way. See that? And it's facing the fold. The fold is facing up. So I just like to go ahead and pin. Okay, and I'm gonna fold it, and it's gonna go up. Okay. If you use poster board, the thing you're not going to get with using poster board is this edge to really push your balloon up against, so that it, you know, you make sure that you're really nice. And I've noticed that your lines are really nice. And I've also noticed a lot of when people are using mine and they're not familiar with using one of these tools, is the first thing they're going to want to do is not push it all the way up against there. So don't be surprised if you're using this and you haven't quite gotten the hang of getting that butted all the way up against there. But if you can do that, you're going to have super straight lines. So now we're getting here. You might have seen me use this for columns before, like a my 6-inch ruler. For columns, and I use the same concept, except in this case it's shaped like a cross. All right, now I'm offering these French crosses that have the notch, the 1 by 1 inch notch, or 1.5 by 1.5 inch notch. And then I'm also offering Latin crosses, which do not have that notch. Okay, let me turn this a little bit for you here. And I just literally work my way. Now on this side, you know, over here, I turn it down and up this way. And on this side, in order to get it to go down, I have to turn it first. Okay? I don't fold it back on yourself. Like I wouldn't do like this. Because now this is going the same direction. I fold it down because these two are going to be opposite, like this. Now when I'm all done with this, I'm gonna probably put pins in a couple of places, like one here, just because you have to manipulate this a lot to sew it. So I am gonna probably reinforce my tape with pins so that nothing moves around on me. And when I go to sew it, I'll make sure any black fibers that are sticking out are covered. See, here's my so I make sure my line is kind of straight with this line. See that? And I flip it under. Hmm?
This side was awful.
Okay. Okay. I have to make sure it gets all the way up against that corner edge. So you can see how these all go down, down, down. Okay. All right, so if you look at this, you'll see my cross form doesn't come all the way to the end of my cross. And it doesn't really have to, because every cross you make could be slightly different according to how tall you want to make it, your vestment. If you have a very tall man, you may not, you may need to add 3 or 4 inches to it. So this is adjustable. And what I do to adjust it is I use, this is a 6-inch cross, so I use my 6-inch straight ruler, and then we're going to lay this down on top of here, and I'm going to adjust it by using my 1 inch at the bottom. Okay, now if you look here, I just want to show you, I cut off, let's look at this. I took the bottom edge. Now let's just remember here, we're going to have a 1/2 inch of galloon. Okay, we need a little tiny bit of space between these two. But I went ahead and cut this off at 3.5 inches from my bottom. So when I cut this out, I kind of cut it out longer than I had to, and I just took it up a couple inches, but I measured it 3.5 inches above, and then I drew my line. And now I'm going to put this down at the end, because I like to be 1 inch from my edges. And we're going to adjust this to go all the way to the end. Again, centering the 3 inch down the center of my pattern. Okay, we're going to set that on top. Okay, so it'll look something like this. See how it's overlapped? And down here, and then it's 1 inch from the end. But you can see, there's my cross. We've already got half of it, almost half of it done. Okay, and so we're just gonna lay this down for a second, or set that down. All right, you're gonna see there's going to be a little spot right here where this overlaps on here, where it's not going to want to go precisely, you know, flat up against it, because there's going to be a gap. But I can handle a gap for 1 inch or 2. Here we go. Because all the, like, by the time you're at this point, so up to here, we have the bottom, and by your time you're like maybe 2 inches down, it's already touching it again. And this goes really fast. This is like the easiest, fastest way to lay a French cross. Go around this. Okay, gonna move that. Sometimes these fabrics like to get a little fray happy. Okay. And then we go up, over. It's a little bit of a trial. You got to decide how far to go down. Now, you can see here I didn't get it all the way up against there. But it's kind of difficult because remember that gap. So I'm getting that. Sorry guys, here we go. Now at this point I'm back up at my cross, so I can go ahead and take this guy off of here. And what I like to do is go ahead and iron this down a little bit better, but you can see how nice that looks. Okay. Oh, for goodness sakes. No, it's a stupid fabric. That fabric's dumb. Corners can be very aggravating. Now when I go through and I go to stitch that down, I'm going to use these guys and I'm going to do things like this and as I'm sewing it and pop in any of those black threads that come out. You definitely don't want to leave little black threads like this out as you've sewn. we're almost done. Another thing that's really super helpful when it comes to ironing these crosses on is having yourself a nice big table to work on. So I think I might have pointed this out before, but I made this out of a piece of plywood. You can kind of look up instructions for like quilters, boards, and things like that, like to extend your ironing board capacity or whatever, and that's pretty helpful. There we go. You can find ways to make it let's see. Sometimes it's hard to get that second turn on the up. Now this is our final little stretch here. We're gonna get this corner done. I sure do love my tweezers. Okay. Let's take you around this way so you can see the final stretch here. Okay, and look, if you don't have a little pair of these scissors, you are missing out. They're my favorite. They cut galloons so very well. All right. So I just want to show you the final, look here. That. All right. All right, so here's the final look. Ooh, I like that. There we go. It took me about 30 minutes to get all that done. All right, and it's all because of this nifty acrylic board. So we have our acrylic boards here. Look here. So I've made this with a really interesting design on it. So the measurement from the top of your cross to the middle is different for a fiddleback than it will be for your Philip Neri. It's about 10.5 for a fiddleback, okay, and about 14.5 inches, I think, for your Philip Neri, okay. This guy here, we made it to where it says on there Roman, and then it tells you what size the cross is, 5.5 inches. So the 5.5 inch cross, this will be 5.5 inches from the inside of your galloon to the inside of your galloon, okay? But if you're making a Neri, you flip it to the other side, and it'll say Neri, so you know that goes at your neckline, and then it's 14.5 inches to the center, okay? And then again, you extend that bottom out with one of your straight edge quilting rulers, okay? But these are pretty fantastic. This is what the Latin cross set will look like. With each set, you get a 6-inch cross, a 5.5-inch cross, and a 5-inch cross. I can do them for you in a Latin cross style or the French cross style, where you have these notches here. Okay, both are pretty useful, actually. And then I believe we're going to be including with the sets, these pieces as well. Okay, so let me get these out for you so you can see. We're also going to be including a Roman stole bottom and maniple, so it will be the length. These are the prototypes, so it's a little bit longer. My prototype is a little longer than yours will be, but it'll be 20 inches, I believe, or I believe it's 20 inches from the bottom to your cut line. And this is what you would line up for your maniple or a Roman stole. This will be how big you cut. You use this to cut out your face fabric and your canvas, because your galloon is going to go right on the edge. So this is cut with no seam allowance. And then you have your top, the Roman stole top, which basically fits right on top of here, so that if you're making a stole, you put your two pieces together. See that? And if you're making a maniple, you just use the bottom piece. So your stole goes all the way up. And again, this, you just draw this out, you center it on your, it has a center line. You might not be able to see this, but you can center this, use your center line here to center on a pattern. You use this guy here to say, oh, I think I want that in the middle of my bell, my spade here, and I center it on my pattern. I have markings to denote the different places I might want the center of my pattern to fall. Okay, and then you line it up like that, see? And then you trace it and cut it. You can also use rotary cutters with these. I think a lot of people really love using rotary cutters. Those would be great with this. And then we also have a burst pattern. So let me show you, let me grab that and I'll show you what that looks like. Where's that burst? So we also have our burst pattern piece, okay? So this is for an 8-inch burst. It says 9-inch burst there, but that was just a miscommunication. So I'm going to show you how this thing works. Since Tony has this big swath of fabric out, I want to show you how this one works too. Okay, so you would take your burst pattern piece, and here it shows your center line, okay? And this would show, this would be your sew line, you know, so you're gonna have 2 pieces cut out. This is 10.5 inches by 10 inches, and you would lay this in the middle using your center line here to get into the center of whatever pattern. And because this is clear, you know, you can lay that center line really easily. You can kind of see it in the video here. You can lay that center line along the center of your pattern. And this will be the front of your burst, this little mark here. So you're gonna want 4.5 inches from the edge up to the center. So you just put your flower in the middle there. Use the center line that it's marked with, which is like right here, to determine where you want it to lay. Super easy. Makes our lives easier, at least. Okay, so if you guys are interested in the forms, in the acrylic crosses, in these other pattern pieces, you can shoot us an email at sewdivinevestments@gmail.com. I will put that email down in the description box as well so that you guys have it. If you have any questions, let me know. We would love to answer them for you and help you get set up with your very own acrylic crosses if you're interested. So talk to you soon. Bye.